right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take Sharp and Shapiro. Ron Futrell from Channel 8, gracing us with his presence as well in studio. Of course, the number to call if you want to be a part of the show, 257-5396. And a quick reminder as well, this Thursday, again, we're going to be at Rodizio Grill, broadcasting live at 1300 West Sunset Road. Free food and drinks. Come on down, say hello. There'll be some celebrity guests attending. You won't want to miss it. We'll be there 5 to 8. Before we get to some more phone calls, I do want to mention this because I think this is also an important story. Iraq War veteran Senator Tammy Duckworth, yes, she's a Democrat. You can disagree with her policies. I happen to have a lot of respect for her. I don't care what her policies are. She served in Iraq, and she's.
You don't care what her policies are?
As far as respecting someone, if I don't like their policies, it doesn't necessarily mean I don't respect them. And I respect this woman. She's not mincing words when it comes to President Donald Trump's redirection of Pentagon resources to a U.S.-Mexico border wall after Congress decided to fund it. She also went on to say that he's a coward. She also said that. Because of the fact that President Trump dodged the military, she claims at least 5 times, draft dodged 5 times, she claims using his personal privilege to get out of serving. So I want to take some phone calls on that and get your reaction to that.
Stay on that. See how did it work in 2016? Do that, Tammy, and you emphasize that. Go, go, go. It worked well in 2016, didn't it? In the election?
We're discussing the fact that he dodged the military.
Okay, no. Keep it up. It worked well then. Do it again. Same thing.
I mean, Kim Kardashian made a sex video. That worked out well for her. So did Paris Hilton. I mean, what's your point? Just because you do something and it works well doesn't mean, it was the right thing to do to dodge the military.
It didn't work well in 2018.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're okay with making up bone spurs to dodge the military, then you and I, Ron, think differently.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. I'm saying just politically,
that's what she's talking about.
It worked well in 2018. Keep it up again. Keep going. Impeach.
There's nothing
When's
positive.
Impeachment happening?
There's nothing positive or working well when we're talking about dodging the military. 257-5396, the number to call. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Wilfried. Wilfried, what's up?
Hey, Brian.
Yes, sir. Hello? Wilfried?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. So can everybody else. You're good to go, sir.
All right. Well, let's see. Well, first, can you check your address? Because someone told me that your restaurant was at 3700 East Sunset at the Galleria Mall. So I'm confused. And the other thing...
Wait, hold on. One thing at a time. What? What did you just say?
Well, check your address on the...
Are you being facetious or are you being serious?
No, I think he's being serious.
I'm a detailer. It's my nature to take...
Okay, let me give you the address again, Wilfried, and you're welcome to come by, even though we've had our differences on the air. The address is 1300 West Sunset Road in Henderson, and you're welcome to come by.
All right. Well, no, someone told me that the address was 3700 East Sunset Road.
1300.
As far as I know, it's 1300 West Sunset Road. I mean, JD, can you double check that?
It is in the Galleria Mall, though.
Can you check the address? We're gonna double check it, Wilfried. But my understanding is it's 1300 West Sunset Road.
Okay. Well, even with our differences, I don't believe you can distort data. It's my nature. So
I'm not trying to intentionally distort data.
Not this time.
If I might. What I'll do is I'll just give you my notes to talk to you about, and then I'll get off here before you call me an idiot or a racist. Okay, so here's the point.
Ooh, good luck.
Just don't say anything that's racist. That's all, and then I won't say that.
I'm still doing my Black American, African American survey. Boy, you'd love to hear that one.
Right.
Michael Castro got fired from KXST. Illegals. That's why low wages. And let's see, would you cite your source in the future if you make an accusation? And then the third thing is, I'm up to 25 words.
I don't know what you just said. I don't know what you just said, but the second thing, can you say that again? I don't. Can you repeat it? You're talking too fast. What, JD? What did he just say?
He said Michael Kastner, I believe, was fired from KXNT. Didn't explain why.
Wait, what? I don't know what you just said. I don't even know who that is.
Who is it?
25, up to 25 words. He's going to check his notes. Wilfried obviously has been preparing for this conversation.
Okay, and by the way, it is 1300 West Sunset Road.
Yes,
so you're confusing our listeners, Wilfried, but go ahead.
Well, I apologize for that sincerely.
Okay, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, I made some notes. In your discussion, sometimes you cover a wide array of subjects, and it's like skipping, like a stone skipping across the surface. You don't know where to begin at. So my notes were that somebody,
That's called transitioning.
Trump Kastner was fired from KXNT. Then you were talking about wages. The illegal aliens that are coming in are holding wages down. Then the other thing.
Okay, so what's your comment? Are you just reviewing our first 30-minute segment? You called in to have an opinion, I would hope. Can you please share that with us?
I believe he's trying to say that the show is all over the place, and he believes that it should be much more structured.
Oh, okay.
Is
that what Wilfred is saying? Okay.
Here's my two questions to you for the record, Brian. Okay.
Okay. Well, one at a time, because I don't want you to spout out too quickly. Give me a question.
I may not get a chance at the second.
I'll give you a chance if you can do it quickly, because there's other people waiting on hold.
Yeah, you bet. These are well intended. For the record, number one, have you been taking any kind of money as a bribe for the Trump position that you hold? And two, have you ever been on medications that have been prescribed for any reason or some history, current or past?
Number one, I would say don't quit your day job. And number two, you're not funny. Have a nice day, Wilfrey. 257-5396. Those are ridiculous questions. I'm not going to respond to. Let's go to Elanda.
He's got a career in forensics.
Elanda, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hi, Elanda.
Hi, my name's Yolanda. I just wanted to comment on the whole immigration thing. I'm actually a Mexican-American. I was born in Mexico, and I came here legally.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just think I'm a Republican, too. I voted for Trump. And so I'm not a racist. You can't say I'm a racist.
Wait, Brian could probably if he wants to.
He could find a way.
He'll find a way.
If you're going to come, I do believe if you come to another country, you should do it legally.
I agree.
No, you don't, Brian.
But let me explain. I don't disagree with that. In a perfect world, I wish everybody came to this country illegally, and I'm glad that you did. But here's the issue:
we don't need a perfect world. We don't need a perfect world. We just need to police our border.
We
don't need a perfect world.
We need a better world within reason. Perfect's never going to happen. It's not nirvana. Yolanda, did you?
Can I just finish? Go ahead.
Did you come to the United States seeking asylum, or did your family?
I did come with my family. First of all, my mom came, and then I came over because she did things the legal way, and so we did the whole process and everything. So that's what I'm saying. Donald Trump is not against illegals coming here. He just wants it done.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then, Yolanda. Huh? Okay, it's right. Yolanda, right? Okay, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name right. So when Donald Trump says, quote, these people, and he's talking about Mexican people, he says, these people, they're rapists, they're bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people. Does that not offend you at all when he uses that type of language?
I have a BA in criminal justice, and that's what exactly the statistics show.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, you're wrong. You're saying the majority of the people are rapists and bad people?
He's yelling at Yolanda. Yeah.
No, hold on a second. You're telling me that you believe that the majority of Mexicans coming into this country illegally are bad people and rapists. How dare you make a claim like that? That is absolutely not true.
Yolanda.
Thank you for your call, Yolanda.
I have a question.
You should tell that to those people that those illegals killed. All these.
That doesn't mean. Guess what? That doesn't mean. Guess what? That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that the majority of the people coming into this country are bad people because some people were killed. You know what that means? It means that a small percentage of people coming into this country are doing horrific things, and I wish they never happened. But for you to say, I am amazed. Okay, that you said, I'm sorry, it's an idiotic remark you said, Brian, that the majority of Mexicans coming into this country are rapists and bad people. That is a disgusting thing you just said.
I have a degree.
Oh, really? So all the Mexicans coming into this country, give me a stat. Of all the Mexicans coming in, how many of them have committed crimes?
I didn't say all of them.
You said the majority, just like what Trump said.
They have a criminal history. Either they're running away.
Give me the stats. I want the stats right now. The majority of Mexicans coming into this country, how many of them have committed a crime? Give me the stat.
You have to let her respond, Brian.
I'm asking her a question.
You asked her 5 questions. Ask her 1. Let her respond.
Give me the stat.
I don't know. I don't have the front.
Oh, you don't have it. Okay, yeah, there you go. So you want to lecture me, and you have no idea what you're talking about. Guess what I do? Guess what I do? And an American. Why don't you listen to facts?
Brian, Border Patrol is about the small percentage that comes in the country and is trying to do terrible, nefarious things. It's knowing that they're coming into the country. It's knowing that they are here. That's why Border Patrol. And that's why coming.
We're not talking about Border Patrol.
Yes, of course we are.
We're talking about stats.
We're talking about stats. Say it's 8%. Say it's 8% of illegal immigrants that
Yolanda,
come through.
I gave you a chance to put a fact behind your opinion, and you failed.
The point is, with legal or coming through legally, we know who they are and what they are here for.
Right.
We can track them.
Okay, but to say that the majority of these people have committed, yes, it does.
Fine, you're right there. But still,
she doesn't think so.
Who cares? But still the ones that come through that do decide to do illegal things, at least we know that they're here and who they are.
Okay,
and
fine.
That's why them coming legally is so important.
Okay, but that's a different subject
No, it's
than
not.
what she's saying.
It's the
No,
exact
it's
same
not.
subject.
She's
Okay.
claiming that the majority of Mexicans are bad people.
They're already breaking the law. You can't just cross
That's
over
not.
somebody's country.
Excuse me.
That's
Where did I
already-
say that coming into the country illegally was not breaking the law? You make absolutely no sense.
It's already breaking the. You can't cross a country with.
You just, excuse me. Okay, we're going to go back to what I started in this conversation because you failed. So I'm going to say it again, and let's see if you could show some intellectual honesty. Okay, Donald Trump said these people coming into this country, they're bad people. Okay, try to listen. Try to listen if you can. I'm sure your mother told you the same thing. Try and pay attention and listen. These people coming into this country, they're bad people, they're rapists, and some of them, I suppose, are good people. Now, you agree with that statement. Can you admit that that is incorrect? And then we can proceed. Can you admit? No. Some people are not good. That's where you're being ignorant. The majority of people. Let me
He
tell
didn't say
you.
majority either. You're assuming majority.
He said, I suppose.
You're assuming majority.
Excuse me. He said, I
You're
suppose.
assuming majority.
I suppose some of them are good people.
So you're implying
That's
that
accurate.
you're implying
Some are good people.
You're implying that he assumed majority. That he was stating that the
You're
majority
assuming,
aren't.
Brian.
And then,
you're the
I'll
one
tell you
doing it.
who's assuming. Yolanda. Yolanda's assuming.
Brian, you're putting words in the president's mouth.
No, I'm
is what
not.
you're
I
doing.
just
Yes,
read a
you
quote.
are.
No, I didn't. I read a quote, and I'll read it again. And both of you, please tell me how I'm
And-
putting
and-
words in his mouth.
and
Do you
that
want me to read
quote,
the quote
He
again?
never said majority.
He never says
said
majority.
Get rid of
in
the
that quote.
No,
Get rid
Yolanda.
of Yolanda because she has
Yolanda,
no
by the
idea
way.
what she's
No,
talking about.
Yolanda, great call.
No, it
Great
wasn't.
call, Yolanda.
No, it
And
wasn't.
by the way, let me
No, it
say this
wasn't.
about
It's a
Yolanda.
horrible call.
By the way, Brian, you asked for stats. One of the problems is there are no stats on who is coming here.
Guess what?
And how many
If
are
you're
coming
an
here.
illegal
There
immigrant-
are no stats
Incorrect.
on how many
if you're an
illegals
excuse
are coming
me,
here.
If you're an illegal
and-
immigrant,
and
you have a
who they
less
are.
chance of committing a serious crime than an American.
No.
And that
You
is
have
a
no
fact.
stats. You have no stats.
Oh, really?
You can,
Would you like to make a $1,000 bet on the air right
how
now?
How many illegals
I'm asking
are in this?
you-
How many illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, how many illegals are in this country right now?
I will
how
make
many,
a bet
how many?
with you.
You know, what's the number?
I will make a bet with you,
You
on
have
the air
to know
right
that
now.
number. You
I
have
will
to know
make-
that number.
Okay.
If
listen,
you're going to assume
listen.
what you're going to,
I'm
the
not
second
assuming.
part of it.
I'm going to make a bet with you right now.
Okay.
That an American has a better chance of committing a crime in this country than an illegal. And I will get the stats to back that up because I know it's true.
No,
Would you like to bet
how
on that?
many you have to know?
So you
to
don't want to
get,
bet on that?
No,
Okay.
to get to that
All right,
stat.
no problem.
Yes, I would bet. I'll bet whatever you want
Okay.
on that. But
Bet a
you
dinner
would,
right now.
you would
Shake my hand.
You would have
Shake
to,
my hand.
You would,
Okay, it's a
you
bet.
would have
It's a
to
bet.
know first how many illegals are in this country, and you don't.
I will find.
Nobody
I will find you the latest stats that we
Yolanda,
have. Let's take some more phone calls.
No, not the latest stats.
She wants to
Nobody
demonize just like
knows.
Donald Trump that the majority
Bless
of illegals are bad
Bless
people.
Yolanda, thank you for coming to our
That's
country
insulting.
legally.
That's
by the way,
insulting.
Yolanda, thank you.
Insulting.
Why
257-5396.
I
Let's go
don't
to.
know.
We got to take some more calls.
Okay,
Because she doesn't have facts.
She says he was Republican.
Let's go to Josh.
Okay. Oh,
Nothing to do
that's
with that.
why.
Let's go to
Okay.
Josh. Josh, what's up?
Hey, I got two things. Number one, you got pretty upset at a caller for labeling you, but I hear you label callers all the time.
Which caller? Which call are you talking about?
The one you argued with before the break.
Well, because I come up with facts. When somebody calls me a liberal, I voted right and left. So, I mean, I'm not a liberal. So if you're going to say something that's not accurate, I'm going to call you out for it.
The first thing you said was don't label me, and I hear you label people all the time.
Okay, so first of all, which call are you referring to? And I'll tell you why I labeled someone, and then we can go through it step by step slowly for you, Josh, okay?
I couldn't even hear the guy's name because he...
Well, which call are you referring to? Because I don't know which call you're referring to. If I call somebody a moron, there's usually a reason for it.
Second point I had,
Okay,
just real
we'll
quick,
pass through that. Okay, go ahead.
I could win that bet with you because every illegal immigrant in this country is committing a crime.
We know that they commit a crime when they cross the border. The question and the bet that we
No, you
have
don't
is,
care
do
about
they
that.
commit a
You
crime after they cross the border? Are they bad people? Are they dangerous people? Are they felons? And a very small percentage of them are, and there are stats to back that up.
You don't know how many are here, Brian. So
Okay,
you
well, there
cannot
are
say
stats
that.
to back that
no,
up.
there are not. There are no stats saying how
Okay,
many.
so you guys just want to demonize most of these people as horrible people.
I'm saying
Yeah,
you don't
okay.
have. Nobody has those stats.
Yep. Okay.
Nobody has those stats.
Well, if somebody knows that they're committing a crime by crossing the border, what are the chances that they're okay with committing more crimes?
What are the chances that they're okay with committing more crimes? There are
Yes.
stats that are showing that the majority, and when I say majority, it means more than 50% of these people that are crossing the border illegally are not committing serious crimes in this country. That is a fact.
And say 25% are. and we don't know who they are.
You're changing the conversation.
No, I'm not changing the conversation.
Yes, you
at all.
are.
No, the point is it's a huge problem, regardless.
I never said it wasn't a problem. You're changing the. I never said it wasn't a problem.
So this is all just based on you being right about one stat of a majority.
I'll tell you what it's about.
Based on Donald Trump's statement he didn't even make. The words you put into his mouth.
I'm going to make a bet with you now. Here is a direct quote, and I'm not making anything up, JD. He said, these people crossing our border, they're bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people. That is a quote. They're rapists, they're bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people. I am not adding anything to that quote.
At what point does he say that 50% or more?
When you say, I suppose some of them are good people, you are making a very strong insinuation that the majority are not good people, and that is wrong.
A lot of conjecture in there on your part, Brian.
Josh, go ahead.
Nothing. I'm just listening to you.
All right, Josh, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Let's go to Frank. Frank, what's going on?
Hi, Frank.
Yolanda, thank you for your call again, by the way. I just want to say that again. Yolanda, thank you for your call, and thank you for coming to this country legally.
Frank, what's going on?
I just wanted to chime in and say that it's irrelevant whether they're angels or saints or priests coming in. They're coming here, and the one thing I side with the Democrats on and the Republicans that say we don't need a wall, they're right. I did guard duty on the Berlin Wall. The success rate, they said, was 1 out of 100. No, it was closer to 1 out of 1,000 made it out and the wall. But I say, as last of the third AD soldier, I don't need as many men as they got. I just need the equipment. Mm-hmm. I can run double concertina wire, electrify it, give me cattle prods, pepper spray, tear gas, dum-dum bullets, and believe me, they won't want to come over. What parts of it we can't
So let me get this right. You want young children, if you have a 5-year-old kid, you think that rubber bullets should be shot at a 5-year-old child?
You think that 5-year-old kid's got a shot in this country the way
that is an utterly ridiculous comment that you just made. I cannot believe. So you are okay with condoning tear gas and rubber bullets at children? Are you?
Hey, if they're gonna play.
So you think if a 4 and 3-year-old kid is crossing the border illegally with a father or a mother, you think tear gas and well, goodbye, because I'm just going to get angry with you because that's just idiotic.
A child trafficker. What if somebody who is
we will get to that.
Trafficker?
That's another subject.
A lot of them are. A lot of them are.
I don't think that kids should have tear gas put their way. Okay. And let's go to Samantha. Samantha, what's up?
You were asking for some stats a little bit a while ago, and I think it was on this radio station this morning, if I'm not mistaken. Whoever was filling in for Brian Kilmeade, they said that 1/3 of the prisoners in our prisons are illegal immigrants. So it might not be 1/3 of the people crossing over, but if 1/3 of the prisoners are illegal immigrants, that there shows that there is a big problem.
I never said there wasn't a problem, Samantha. When did I say there wasn't a problem?
You didn't. You just asked for statistics.
I'm just simply saying that the majority, and that could be 51%, the majority of illegals that cross this border, after they cross the border, obviously we know that that's a crime, but after they cross the border, they have good intent, they're not bad people, they're not felons, and they're not committing crimes. That's all I'm saying.
So you're assuming that 51% of them
it's more than 51%. It's more than 51%.
Okay, more than 51%.
Yeah, it's more.
But and that's an assumption. But if somebody
it's not an assumption.
How many illegals are here, Brian?
It's not an assumption.
How many people are here in this country illegally?
We already made our bet. We already made our bet.
How many people here in this country are here illegally?
You're going to take me to dinner a week from Tuesday.
No, how many people are here in this country illegally? You have to have a baseline.
You want me right now on the air to say
stats? You ever taken stats?
Samantha, thank you for the call. We got to go.
Take statistics. You have to have a baseline. Mm-hmm. You don't have a baseline. Nobody has a baseline. No, you do not.
Yes, I do.
Then tell me, how many people are here in this country illegally right now? Today. How many people are here?
First of all, it is impossible today to give you that
How
figure
many were here
accurately.
last month then?
The last figures we have are from last year, and I will give you those figures when we come back.
You don't know.
The number to call 25.
Nobody has any idea. That's part of the problem. Nobody has any idea.
Let me take one more quick call. Let me take one more quick call before we go to break. Let's go to Carlos. Carlos, what's up? Carlos? Is this John? I think we have John. John, what's going on? Okay, I think we lost John. Let's go to Carlos. I believe Carlos is the next caller, if I'm not mistaken. Carlos, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up? I'm sorry, Carlos. I only have about a minute for you. I hate to cut you short, but go ahead. Floor's yours.
In regards to the girl who had the stats about the illegal immigrants.
Yes.
Maybe it's not a whole lot of it, but it is a big majority. Being a Mexican American, I can tell you that firsthand. That there is a lot of criminals and there is a lot of drug dealers in the Mexican American
but define community. A lot. Does that mean the majority of them crossing the border are criminals?
Now you're going after Yolanda and Carlos.
Even if it's 20%, it's still ridiculous.
Okay.
It's still a ton.
I understand, but I'm not going to label them as the majority as bad people. If there's 2 million people coming across the border every year and 400,000 are criminals, that's a giant problem, Brian. I didn't say it wasn't a problem. When did I say it wasn't a problem?
So this entire conversation is based on you being right about Trump
this entire
implying
this entire conversation are people like, no, I'll give you the answer.
He didn't even say it.
I'll give you the answer. Yes, he did. Yes, he did,
no,
I'll give you the direct quote. Okay,
Carlos,
I'm a liar.
Another great call,
all right.
Carlos.
Carlos, I got to let you go, my friend.
Carlos and Yolanda both shut you down, bro. Brian,
not at all.
How you feeling, Brian?
Not at all.
Okay, Brian?
I feel good because people listen to Donald Trump and they think he's right and he's wrong.
Mexican Americans you just shot down. How horrible is that, Brian?
No, it's the other guy who called in who wants to shoot the kids that are crossing the border, racist like that. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take Sharp and Shapiro. Mr. Ron Futrell, the man, the myth, the legend himself from Channel 8, joining us in studio as well. We were just talking a little bit about O.J. Simpson off the air. Mm-hmm. I want to get Ron's take on that and a couple other things that he's been covering this week. That expertise when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, the UFC. We'll get to that coming up here in just a few minutes. I also want to remind everybody, Michael Avenatti will be joining us tomorrow. Always fun to talk to Michael, catch up with him, ask him about illegal immigration. I want to see what he thinks about that. Also, join us Thursday at Rodizio Grill this Thursday. That's 1300 West Sunset Road in Henderson. Free appetizers and drinks. We'll be broadcasting live from 5 to 8 p.m. Come by, say hello. That's Rodizio in Henderson. I want to give some stats real quickly, if I may. According to the Pew Research Center, they've been doing this for a very, very long time. Their estimations, and this is 2018, not 2019, latest estimates in the United States are showing 10.7 million illegals in this country. That is less than 4% of the total population. But here is the important stat. Their estimates, 105,000 of those 10.7 million convicted criminals. ICE says it's committed to targeting criminal aliens for arrest and removal. Advocates accuse ICE of inflating statistics. But when you take 105,000 out of 10.7 million, what do you come up with there? What do you come up with? About 10, right?
No, 2%.
No, 105,000. Oh, yeah, you're right. 2%. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. You're right. My math's not very good. The number of inmates.
JD, the math major.
Well, he's certainly an expert compared to me when it comes to that stuff. I'll tell you that right now. The number of inmates in state and federal prisons who are not U.S. citizens, 83,000. Less than 2%, JD. Am I wrong on that? So.
Of what they say is the population.
Okay,
did
so
they catch,
if you want,
did they count the guy coming up the manhole in El Paso?
If you don't want to agree with these stats, that's on you.
That's way low. That's way low on the total.
In your opinion, that's way low.
Oh, it's way low.
In your opinion, but what are you basing that on?
I'm basing it on I'm right. My instincts are right, and
so you're
I don't
basing
get things
your
wrong.
Facts on instincts, and you have no stats to back it up. I just gave you stats.
No, Pew Research, BS.
Let me read that one more time.
No, there is no way anybody could know the number of people in this country illegal. Nobody can know that number. Anybody who tells you they know that number is lying to you, Brian.
Okay.
Let me repeat
those
that.
Numbers are wrong.
Yes, they are wrong. Okay. Nobody can know because they cannot keep track. Man, you can't count the people coming through the manhole cover.
Well,
you
I'll
can't
tell you one thing we do know.
People coming over the Rio Grande.
We do know.
You can't count people coming over through
Calm down
Tucson.
for a second.
You can't count.
Okay,
you
Ron,
don't know.
I like this.
Nobody knows.
Keep going.
Nobody knows.
This has been one breath for Ron without breathing.
ICE has arrested in 2018. These are stats. They have arrested 105,000 people.
Okay.
Think for a second. Now, you're estimating that 10.7 million illegals in this country is way too low. So you're making my point for me. You're saying that you believe that number is too low and there's probably more illegals in this country.
We don't know that number.
Okay, fine.
I'm saying we don't have a baseline. We do not have a baseline.
Ron, fine. Let's just say you're right. Still doesn't change the stat. that 105,000 people were arrested that are illegal. 105,000. Let's just estimate for a second, shall we? To prove your point, let's just say that there's only 500,000 illegals in this country. By the way, I think it's a lot more than that. But let's just say it's not 10.7 million. Let's just say it's only 500,000. That would make it,
wow.
Okay, 10.7 million to 500,000, okay? Or let's just cut it to 5 million. Okay, 10.7 million.
Stats are so much fun to talk about on radio.
Let's go 10.7 million to 5 million illegals. There's still only 105,000 that ICE says they arrested that are illegals. That is an extremely low statistic.
How many committed crimes that they did not arrest?
How many committed crimes that they did? What are you talking about?
No, listen.
What are you talking about?
I'll repeat it again. How many committed crimes that they did not arrest?
If somebody is not arrested and somebody is not convicted, then we have to assume they didn't commit a crime. What are you talking about?
You said something that's the most amazing thing I've ever heard you say.
We're talking about people who were arrested.
Just because they don't get arrested, you think they haven't committed a crime?
They were convicted. 105,000 people were convicted in 2018.
How many committed crimes that did not get arrested? You don't know that number, do you?
That's a ridiculous question.
Of course you don't know that number. Of course you don't know that number. I don't expect you to come up. What's ridiculous is coming up with a number of how many illegal people are in this country right now. You cannot measure that number either any more than you can measure any more than you can measure how many people commit a crime that don't get arrested. You cannot measure those. You don't know it.
Okay, fine. You don't think there's 10.7 million.
Let me ask you this. Do we have the right to protect our southern border?
Absolutely, but can you go back to what I just said? I'm going to give this stat again.
Stop. Do we have the right to protect our southern border? How do we do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But again,
should we do that?
In 2018, 105,000 people were arrested and convicted of crimes that are illegal. You don't want to talk about that stat, do you? It's very interesting.
I don't care.
Yeah, of course you don't care, right? Because it proves my point that the majority of illegals that come into this country are not bad people. It proves my point.
Majority. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Nobody said what you said.
Donald
Trump
did not say that he supposes.
I've not said it. You've not said. Nobody has said that.
Donald Trump says that he supposes some of them are good people, and that woman Yolanda who called in.
So you're saying some of them are not good people?
Insinuation.
That's racist.
Okay, now you're just trying to be funny. I just gave you stats. 257-5396
You don't think some of them are
is the
good
number to call
people?
if you want to be a part of the show. 702. Okay, let me give out the number. Let me give out the number. Then you can rant. 702-257-5396. I got to give out the number, Ron.
Okay.
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 257-5396. We do have some people that have been waiting.
When are we talking sports?
Patiently. We will. We'll take a few calls and then we'll switch over. Let's go to JD. JD, what's up?
I haven't called in a couple of months to talk about anything other than 3 times I won the prizes. But this is a very important topic. Number one, it is emphatic that 33% of the prison federal population before Trump's presidency are illegals. That's a record. This Pew Company outfit, you're talking about ICE arresting people. Number two,
No, it's not incorrect. It's not just ICE arresting people. Those are people who are actually convicted of crimes. And in 2018, less than 6% of the total prison population. Hold on. Less than 6% of the total prison population, 83,000, that would be, are illegals. So those are the stats in 2018. I'm not making those up.
Federal prisons have now, for the last 5 years, incarcerated 33% illegals for felonies.
Yeah, where are you getting that stat? Where are you getting that 33% from?
Government figures.
From what? From what? From where?
The Department of Justice. The last 3 or 4 years.
Send those over to me. I'd love to see them because I have something right in front of me.
I also asked you months ago when I talked to Sheriff Lombardo how many crimes in 2017 felonies, and he said 80-some thousand, and then he said about 30% of those were by illegals. You said you were going to check those facts, and you never have. All you did is disagree with the numbers. So
I got numbers right in front of me. I just gave them to you right now.
I'm talking about Clark County now. Sheriff Lombardi, 88,000 felonies in 2017, 30% of them committed by illegals. Now, I guess Sheriff Lombardo and his figures are wrong.
Well, I mean, I think you're wrong. I haven't spoken to Sheriff Lombardo, but I think you're wrong.
You were going to check about 6 months ago with Sheriff Lombardo.
Well, I haven't spoken. I haven't spoken to Sheriff Lombardo, and you're not the producer of the show. You don't tell me what to do.
Well, you said you were going to do it. I didn't tell you to do it.
Listen, you did, actually, JD.
No, I did
you
not
did tell me to do it. You said check the figures with Sheriff Lombardo. You don't run this show. I don't do what you tell me to do.
Of course
I do what JD tells me to do, the other JD.
I don't call the show anymore because you're too rude.
Oh, well, that's just so unfortunate, JD. The show can't go on without you. I'm so sorry that you don't call in anymore.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying it. JD, listen.
You have a very successful show.
I'm saying that.
Very good call. callers, and you're doing very well, I think.
Okay, well, I mean, you're trying to insult us and saying, well, I don't listen to the show because you're too rude.
Hey, JD, I have one question for you.
Yes, sir.
Will I see you on Thursday at Rodizio Grill?
I have every intention of coming over and shaking hands with you people and maybe making a point without being hung up on because I've made my point and you can't dispute it.
Yes, I
JD,
can. I have the stats right in front of
JD,
me. I do dispute it.
Will your point involve
By the way, you know what I wanted to ask you, JD? I've never heard of betting on a golfer to finish top 20. And you, I believe, last week said you bet on Shoffley.
I did.
Is that like even money?
I believe it was plus 140.
To get in the top 20.
JD, I'm sorry.
You called that right on the nose. He finished
JD,
like third.
He got third, yeah. He's a very good player.
JD, I will gladly shake your hand on Thursday, but unfortunately, I hope this doesn't pain you, but I do have to hang up on you because I do have other callers, okay? Do you understand?
I appreciate the fact that you do.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thank you, JD. I appreciate it. I didn't want to insult him by hanging up on him. God
Very
forbid.
good call,
Thank
JD.
you, JD,
Two solid
Yolanda, and Carlos.
His Sheriff Lombardo stats. Let's go to Aaron. Aaron, what's up?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good, Aaron.
First-time caller, actually.
Thank you.
So I'd like to respond to some of these comments that are being made by some of your callers, which is just really ridiculous.
Thank you.
Just talking about how the Yolanda, but the majority.
Yeah. How ridiculous.
I mean, that is. I used to live in Tucson at the border. I'm an educator, and the majority, and yes, I definitely believe that as a matter of fact, my mom did it legalize to come to this country. But these people that are coming across, I mean, they come with the same aspirations as anyone has in this country to do better.
Exactly.
Our students. Here I'm an educator here in the Valley. Kids.
Can I ask you, if you don't mind, where? I mean, you don't have to. Where do you teach at the high school level? Where are you at?
Well, I'd rather not say,
That's
but
fine.
it's all levels, really. It's my role.
All right. You sound like a smart guy.
Do you educate a lot of dreamers, and what are their families like?
Absolutely, lots of dreamers, DACA students, and their families. Again, very committed.
Sure.
In regards to being successful.
Yep.
In regards to being contributing.
Aaron, can I ask you a question? I want to ask you a question.
They would make their country so much better.
Aaron, let me ask you a question. How do I deal with somebody like a Yolanda who calls up and insinuates that the majority of illegals...
Trump didn't say that. She didn't say that.
Aaron, did she not make that insinuation?
She did.
Thank you.
That's the way I understood it. And
that's the way I did, too.
You did the right thing. You came back with data. Show me the data.
I have data. 2018, 10.7 million illegals. 105,000 of them have been convicted of criminals. But Ron Futrell doesn't want to agree with the stats.
They have no idea.
Well,
they
Think
cannot.
about this.
Go ahead,
The
Aaron.
other piece also, guys, to think about is out of those 10.7 million and whatever the number is, and I know because again, the communities that I work with and the communities that I continue to work in, they also contribute to the economy. They're buying groceries, they're working, they're paying the taxes, sales taxes when they go purchase a car, etc. So it's not like they're just sitting here doing nothing.
Exactly.
And again, the whole thing about I had some the caller talked about a 5-year-old not having a chance.
Yeah.
Again. That is just a ludicrous statement.
Absurdity,
like
yeah. And you know what, Aaron?
I agree that was very ridiculous to say.
Aaron, he was okay with shooting rubber bullets at a bunch of young children. What does that say about him?
Absolutely, yeah. I agree. 100%.
Listen, Aaron.
Think of it. Anybody think about how much better Mexico would be with all these great people in their country. No, Brian, don't roll your eyes. How much better would Mexico be with all these great people and helping
Aaron,
their
can
homeland?
You address Ron for me, Aaron,
helping
please?
Their homeland.
Because I'm going to start yelling. Go ahead,
How much
Aaron.
better would Colombia, Honduras go down the list?
Let him respond. Let him respond.
Just again, like any other country, there's things that need to improve. People come here because they want to improve their lives, just like myself. I want to improve my life. My kids want to improve their life. Just like, again, the same aspirations as anyone here. At the end of the day, guys, definitely we need immigration reform.
There is a legal way to do it.
Not an answer. The wall is not the answer.
There is a legal way. There is a legal way to do it.
Aaron, I am really glad you called, my friend. You spoke very eloquently. My points. Maybe I'm not as eloquent as you are in the way you make your point. But Aaron, I'm so glad you called. Thank you so much.
Nobody wants to address this, but all these great people, then Brian, that are coming across the border, how much better would their home country be if they stayed there and gave their services to their home country? You think that's ridiculous?
Ridiculous. There's more freedom here. There's more opportunity to make it in this country.
Then why don't they make their country better? Why don't they make their homeland better?
That easy. Let's just walk outside.
I didn't say it was easy.
Say, let's make our country better. That is utterly ridiculous.
Our revolution was not easy in this country.
Let's shoot rubber bullets at 5-year-old kids because their parents want a better life for their children.
Oh, it's not easy. There's no easy answers. But how about all these?
You're certainly making it that way.
How about all these great people make their homeland better?
Yeah, because it's
improve their
simple.
homeland.
Yeah, sure. They can do it. Sure. Let's go to Luke. Luke, what's up?
If they can't, who can?
Luke, what's going on? Luke, are you there? Luke, I am your father. Let's go to Doug. I believe Doug is next. What's up, Doug?
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, do you actually think that Democrats even have a chance in 2020?
Well, I've answered that question, but I'll gladly answer it again. If you asked me right now, I do believe President Trump will win. I do.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be a lot more this time.
Well, Doug, I think that depends, Doug, and I'll get your opinion on this, but I want to get everyone's opinion. I think it depends. I think he's going to beat Joe Biden. If it is Joe Biden, I believe it will. But I think if Joe Biden picks a Kamala Harris or perhaps Booker, I think it could be a little closer than you think. Keep in mind, Doug, and I hate to bring up Hillary Clinton because I don't like Hillary Clinton. She was a horrible candidate, but she still won the popular vote, Doug. So I don't think it's going to be a landslide.
I'm not saying it's going to be a landslide, but it's going to be a hell of a lot bigger than last time. The economy's strong, that everybody's happy. And
everybody is not happy. That's not true.
Brian's not happy.
The only ones who aren't happy are the liberals
Brian's
not
happy.
For blood.
So let me ask you a question. If there are plenty of Republicans
screaming for blood,
let me ask you a question, Doug. There are plenty of Republicans out there that are making $10 an hour. Do you think they're all happy?
That could be the case, but at least those guys are working when they weren't working last.
So right now,
8 years ago.
So right now, if you had no money and you were working $10 an hour at Walmart, and somebody said to you what you just said, well, at least you have a job, that would make you happy, Doug?
Well, it'd be better than being on welfare and food stamps.
I never said it wouldn't be better than. Is that the bar that we've put there? Well, just work a $10 an hour job. You should be happy.
Great thing, the great thing about this country is you set your own bar. Okay, you get to achieve and set your own bar.
Doug
and decide
is just
where
making
it's
so many gross assumptions in that phone call. It's just ridiculous.
Well,
Let's go to.
You can't refute what he said, Brian.
No, I can. Everybody's not happy. Yeah.
Oh, well, you're right. You're okay. Everybody's not happy.
There's a lot of people that are struggling and working paycheck to paycheck.
You're not very happy right now.
Are you kidding me? I'm glowing. I'm so happy. What are you talking about?
Callers, you want to yell at them and scream at them.
I'm angry at callers who make no sense. Was I angry at the last caller before him? Absolutely not.
Oh no, you love that.
Yeah, because he made a lot of sense.
But why do not all these great people that come here illegally, that are the best and the brightest,
you keep
make their
going
country,
in circles
make
over
their
and over
homeland
again.
greater?
Yeah. So somebody that leaves Afghanistan that wants to come into this country, just say, hey, you shouldn't come in here. You should make Afghanistan better. Are you kidding me? That is a ridiculous statement.
Why don't they?
Let's go to Justin.
You don't
Justin,
believe
what's
people
up?
can make a difference?
Hey, how you guys doing?
What's up?
We're the only ones that can make differences.
What's up, Justin?
My question to you is, out of the 100,000 illegal immigrants that created crimes, how many is too much?
I think one is too much. Make no mistake about it.
What about those 100,000 criminals that affected other Americans' lives?
And you don't think the 10 million plus haven't affected people's lives in a positive way? You don't think there's any chance of that?
Well, yeah, but there's a legal way to come in.
I never said there wasn't, but some of these people don't have that opportunity to do that. They don't have the ability to be able to do that based on circumstance. Some of them are in fear of their lives. Some of them are in fear that them or their children could die. But, some people that are privileged don't understand what it's like to be in that type of situation.
Our founding, let's go.
I know a lot of Mexican immigrants that came to this country, and they're great people. They are. But every time they always go back for vacations back to Mexico to go visit their hometowns and those areas. So it can't be that bad.
So you think because some Mexicans that go back to see family, you think that's the reason why Mexico is a great place to live? Is that what you're trying to say?
No,
what I'm trying to say is what one of those other callers were saying is they can help their country be better. And it's not like Afghanistan.
So let me ask you a question then. You have a father in Mexico. I'm just going to put a hypothetical out there, and this is an interesting question, but I'd like to hear you answer it. You have a father out there, let's just say, not married, maybe lost his wife, whatever. He's got 4 kids, okay? No money. He lives in a very poor area where his life is threatened on a daily basis. He has no way out. And you come up to him, Justin goes up and say, hey, you can't come into this country illegally. You should do better to make your country better. What advice specifically would you give to that person with 4 kids, persuading him to stay in his own country and not seek asylum? What do you think he should do?
I think he should do what a lot of other great immigrants have done, and they came to this country legally. And they've done it.
If he doesn't have the means to do that, and he's living in a situation where he's in fear that his children could lose their lives or be kidnapped, and he doesn't have the means to do it, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to do exactly what the rest of those immigrants that were great that came to this country and do it the legal way.
What if you're not listening to me? What if he doesn't have time to do that? What if he lives in an area where he's in fear of his kid's life?
Brian, you want to fix every problem.
There is a will, there is a way. And, we can't help, every single person on this planet.
But I'll tell you somebody, I'll tell you who we can help.
Brian thinks we can.
I'll tell you who we can help, and I'll tell you who Donald Trump is helping, the top 1%, the CEOs of Fortune 500 countries.
Close our borders and help our borders.
Donald Trump is helping the wealthy in our own country. That's what he's doing.
When you build a fence along the border, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Because what you're doing is you're trying to create a border for a sovereign nation and
all right. Well, Justin, I'll tell you something else that's not necessarily a bad thing. When you have a parent with kids that is seeking asylum coming from a very dangerous situation, and we try to do...
How many of those parents are their real kids?
How many of those parents are their real kids? I'm trying to. You're changing the subject now.
His point is there's a lot of child trafficking and smuggling.
Here's what I can tell you,
supporting
Justin.
Brian. You're supporting the child traffickers and smugglers.
Utterly
How
ridiculous.
dare you?
I gave you a stat, Justin. Justin, I gave you a stat. 10. All right, let me know when you're done.
They get over here,
I understand.
And that's why they have to give them pregnancy tests.
Right. So all the parents bringing kids across the border, they're not their real parents. I get what you're saying, Justin.
Pretty good percentage.
All right. Thank you for calling. Yep.
We're finding a good percentage are smugglers and child traffickers.
Right, a good percentage. I just gave you 10.7 million illegals in the country in 2018. 105,000 were convicted of crimes. So don't give me that nonsense.
We can quantify the number of people, and we have to do some DNA. It's difficult to do.
When the stats don't make your argument, of course you're not going to agree with the stats.
There is no way anybody can know the number of people that are in this country illegally.
Fine.
Nobody can know that number. Nobody can know that baseline.
257-5396 is the number to call again. 702-257-5396. Let's go to David. David, what's up?
And that's part of the problem that we don't know.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Doing good, David. What's up?
Hey, I wanted to say that, in Europe, when they let all the immigrants come over in Europe, they were like, most of them, they say like 80% were young men, okay? And very few women and children, okay? So they went over there in Europe, and look what's going over in Europe. I mean, they opened their hands up to them, literally. And right now, they're in shambles, okay? That's one point I'm making, okay? I understand that we need to come in because Civil War, whatever, in Central America or whatever, okay? I understand that they need to come over, but we need to put them somewhere so they can legally come into this country.
Listen,
okay,
David,
I understand this.
David, in a perfect world,
are you suggesting like a camp of sorts,
Brian? We don't want a perfect world, Brian. We cannot have a perfect world. This is not going to be nobody promised us a perfect world.
David, immigration.
It's not going to be perfect.
First of all, this is a stat that I think you all should be aware of: is that the illegals coming into this country since 2004 has been dropping. So this idea that America is in shambles is complete and utter nonsense.
No. I never said that America was
since 2004.
Since 2004, the numbers have gone down every year.
How about the last couple of years?
No. I never said America was in shambles. I said Europe.
Okay, so David, as Donald Trump said, it's an emergency.
There are actually parts of England where if you walk around and you aren't Muslims will attack you.
Exactly.
That does exist. And rape is a big part of that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, that's not happening here at a very high number.
And there are
that's for sure.
A lot of knifings over there as well.
Okay, well, I'm talking about what's happening over here, not over there.
No, I know.
Yeah.
No. That's part of it.
But it sets precedent for what could happen over here.
Who's to say?
But it hasn't happened over here.
Who's to say that we let all these immigrants come in?
Okay, I never said that. I never said let's open the borders.
I know that.
Yeah.
You did. What I'm saying is, who's to say that's not going to happen here in America?
Well, here's why. Here's why I say we don't have an emergency. Now, is it an issue that needs to be solved? I'm for securing the borders, absolutely. But I'm mentioning the stats, and I said 10.7 million illegals in this country in 2018. 105,000 were convicted criminals. But since 2004, the numbers of illegals hold on, let me finish.
Since 2004 is your key number. That's deceptive.
No, it's not. Since 2004, it has been in decline. Every year, the amount of illegals coming into this country has dropped.
What's happened the last 2 years?
I just gave you the stats from 2008. This year is not out yet. I just gave you 2000.
The last couple of years?
I just gave you 2018.
Wait, hold on. So when are the stats coming out?
What do you mean? When are the stats?
Have you seen what's happened?
Hold on.
When are the stats coming out?
What did you say for 2019? They're not out yet because 2019 last I checked is not over with.
No.
February
the other guy said in 2 years. Now it's been happening in 2 years. You said that back in 2008.
I said 2004. Every year. Now I don't know what the stats are going to show in 2019.
Have you seen the video of the flood across the border?
What I have is
you
stats.
Can anticipate.
A video doesn't mean anything to me. What I can tell you is that since 2004, every single year, illegal immigration has dropped.
Did they
you don't call it an emergency when it's at a low point.
Did they get the dudes coming through the manhole in El Paso?
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, you don't know what that means?
No.
You haven't seen the video, have you?
No,
you haven't seen the video.
So an illegal went through all right. David, I appreciate the call. Thank you for calling.
My point is, you cannot know the numbers.
Okay, well, I just gave you the stat.
You cannot know. They don't know. Pew doesn't know the numbers.
Ask Pew Research Center.
Pew Research doesn't know the numbers. Right. Nobody does.
So again,
that's part of the problem. That's a major part of the problem.
Here's what we do know.
Nobody knows the numbers.
Here's what we do know. 105,000 people in 2018 were arrested and convicted of crimes.
How many committed crimes we are not aware of?
That's a ridiculous statement.
No, if
how many
if
Americans?
Numbers out there,
how many Americans commit crimes that we never know of? That's ridiculous.
Yes. We have a right to protect our borders.
I didn't say we didn't have a right to protect our borders.
But you are not encouraging it. You are not. I
just said over and over again.
No.
I'm all for protecting our borders.
You can say whatever you want, but what do you do about it then, Brian? How do you protect?
Tell you what. Okay,
how do you protect our southern borders?
Glad you asked.
How do you protect our southern borders?
I'm so glad you asked.
Welcome everybody in. Tell them because their country's bad.
Are you asking me a question? I'll try to answer it.
What's your answer?
The majority of illegals that are in this country and have been for the last 30 years are ones that overstay their visas. What are we doing to solve that problem?
Did you hear Trump the last couple of days?
What are we doing?
Have you heard Trump?
I'm asking you a question.
You're not going to be happy with what he tweeted.
Here's what
you're not going to be happy with what he said.
Okay, I'm trying to give you an answer. I'm trying to answer your question.
And
then
I want to send him home.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I was just going to say quickly that the illegals that overstay their visas, that become illegal, give them an ankle bracelet so we can track where they are, so that I believe that would solve a big issue.
I actually like that idea.
Probably not a bad idea.
But, I mean, especially considering what I'm about to say, illegal immigrants are given 180 days to renew their visa.
Mm-hmm.
And when they choose not to, in my opinion, you are a criminal at that point. And if you don't do that, you can't come back for 3 years.
Okay.
That's the standard. That's the standard situation right now.
So that is a big issue.
If you know that you are here illegally or even legally, whatever it is, and you do not renew your visa after 6 months, what are the chances of you doing something nefarious again? Or committing crimes? I think they're pretty decently high. So I like the idea.
In my personal opinion, an ankle bracelet would solve most of those problems.
I like the idea of the ankle bracelet.
Because number one, you know where they are. Number two, you can't take it off because the second they take it off.
Oh, your friends at the ACLU will not like that.
I usually.
Oh,
your friends at the ACLU will not be happy about that.
You asked me a question.
No, they will not be happy.
You asked me a question, and number one, that should be our number one priority.
Democrats will oppose that.
I mean, it does.
It
has kind of a cattle element to it. It does.
Listen, I don't care.
Kamala Harris won't approve that.
Pete
Buttigieg won't like that.
You asked me. I don't care. You asked me a question. I'm giving you an answer. The majority of illegals in this country are the ones that overstay their visas. Let's do something about that. You want to talk about building a wall?
You support Donald Trump.
But what I'm saying is,
send him home.
No.
Wow.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't.
Brian,
you just said you did.
Overstaying your visa is a big deal.
Okay.
You just said you did.
Here's why I'm not
to do it.
Here's why I don't like that. I'll tell you why. If some of these people that have not committed crimes, and I would imagine many of them have not committed crimes.
Other than crossing the border illegally.
If these people have lived a good life here and tried to make a better life for themselves and their family, depending on circumstance, they have kids, they haven't broken any laws since they crossed the border, then I think there needs to be some sort of pathway for them for citizenship. I don't think putting them in a bus and putting them back where they came from is necessarily the answer. And you know what?
These are great people that could help their homeland.
Many of those people are going to try to come into this country illegally again. Okay? That is not the answer. You know what the answer is, Ron? I call it compassion. We need to find out who these people are. Have they committed any crimes? Are they felons? And if they're not, and especially if they have kids, there needs to be a pathway to citizenship.
How many millions are allowed to come across the border every year illegally? Would you, in your perfect world,
Brian, I would
in your perfect world, how many millions get to come across the border illegally?
What do you
10
mean
million,
crossing
20 million?
the border illegal? What are you talking about?
How many should? How many should be allowed?
I don't have an answer for that.
So we need.
I have the stats of how many people were in this country illegally in 2018.
Nobody has those stats.
I think what you really have to think about is, are these people sick? Are they bringing diseases?
Okay, well, the idea that these people coming in are giving us disease, to me, is not proven fact.
Of course it's not proven fact, but I'd like to know that as well.
What I say is, if they're in this country illegally and they don't have any diseases, they're checked out, they haven't committed any crimes, they are
that we
good.
know of.
Okay,
other than coming across the border
that's the only way to find out. Okay, if they haven't committed any crimes and they're in a circumstance where they are doing more good than bad, yes, they crossed the border illegally. We have to find out some sort of system that could give them a pathway to citizenship.
So you agree with productivity translates to citizenship?
I believe it's
merit-based.
I believe
how do you define productivity?
I believe it's based on circumstance. Everybody's circumstance is different.
So you and Trump agree, merit-based. Wow.
Circumstance.
You agree with Trump, merit-based. No, we cannot do circumstance, Brian. We cannot save the world. Brian, sorry, leftists, we cannot save the world in this country.
There has to be a standard.
Circumstance.
It can't be on a case-by-case basis.
Listen.
I lived in Ireland. Isle of Man, British Isles, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland. I lived there. You know how many of those people would have loved to have been able to come here and been in this country that lived in pretty poor circumstances. It was a third world country with a war going on, in the north in the 70s.
I don't understand why you're getting so worked up.
They wanted they would have loved to have come over here because of their circumstances, but you know what they did? They obeyed the law because they respected the law. They stayed in their home country.
I understand.
And by the way, they have improved their home country and made it better. Ireland's a great place right now. Those great people stayed there in their country and made it a better place. Bless them for that.
Have you ever seen Ron this fired up? I've never seen Ron this fired up.
For doing
Ron,
that.
Let me take one more
That was
call.
my personal experience. I was there legally, by the way, and I always had my papers with me if anybody wanted to check. I've lived in a foreign country. I know
nobody's putting you on a bus. Let's take one more phone call, and then we're going to have to go to break. Let's go to James. James, what's up?
Yeah, actually, the real number on the amount of illegals in the United States is more closer to 30 million.
Oh, good. So you're making my point for me then. Because
they've got across here and they infiltrated. But like I said, the buses going back to Mexico this week are going to start be taking them back where they should belong.
Okay, well, number one, I disagree with you. And number two, 105,000 illegals were convicted of crimes in 2018. So you would agree then, you would at least admit, James, that it's a very low percentage of these illegals that are committing crimes in this country once they do cross the border. Would you agree with that?
Can I give you another stat for your
I just asked you a question, yes or no. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that stat, but there's another stat that you're failing to miss.
What's that?
Okay, there's 33% of the prison population are illegal.
Not true.
Did you know that?
Zero. Not true. In 2000, excuse me, I have a stat. Excuse me, I don't know what you're reading that from. Maybe Infowars, but according to Pew,
Michael Savage.
What a shocker! The right-wing nut job. Pew Research Center, which is not on the left or the right, in 2018. 83,000 people. That is less than 6% of the total prison population in 2018 were illegal. So you go ahead and you listen to the right-wing nut job, Michael Savage.
Here's a stat. I just looked at, just for your information, I just Googled this on my phone. The Department of Justice, Center for Immigration Studies says 26%.
In what year?
26%, 2018.
No, that's not what I'm reading.
June 2018, 26% of federal prisoners are aliens.
Okay, of federal prisoners.
So federal.
That
there
is
are
a
state,
completely
different prisons.
Completely different stat.
Okay, well, these
so
are
James,
federal prisons. I'm just giving you that number. Okay?
Listen, by the way, James, you know what Michael's last name is?
More than 1/4, by the way.
Michael's last name is Wiener. It's not the Savage Nation. It's the Wiener Nation. So go listen to your boy Michael Wiener. Okay.
Well, how about you let your boy Carlos Danger?
Carlos Boozer? I don't even know.
Carlos Danger.
You remember Carlos?
You know who Carlos Danger is?
Anthony Weiner. He's talking
Anthony
about
Weiner.
What does that? What does that have to do?
That was his
What is
stage
that?
name on
What
the
does
internet.
Anthony Weiner have to do with anything?
He's matching you joke for joke.
Actually,
Brian.
I will say, James, the Anthony Weiner special on HBO was fantastic.
You know what the best one is? All her emails that Clinton's are still, they found out now that Mr. Barr has found it. They're over 650,000 of them.
Well, listen, next, I want you to do me a favor, James, because I like you. I want you to call Michael Savage and say, this isn't the Savage Nation. It's the Weiner Nation. Your name is Michael Weiner. Can you do that for me, please?
Yeah, he's going to call it the Big Wiener Nation. Right on.
Fair. All right, James. Thanks for calling in, James. I like you. Thanks for calling in. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're actually going to get to some sports, believe it or not. Yes, Ron Futrell is a legend in this town when it comes to sports broadcasting. He
legend,
really is.
Period. You don't even have to say sports. You just say period.
Well, what did I say when you walked in? I said the man, the myth, the legend, Ron Futrell. We're going to talk about, first of all, I want to talk about Ortiz, his condition. Luckily, he's doing much better. We'll talk a little bit about that. Ron Futrell had a chance to check out a new UFC facility, and we'll talk a little Vegas Golden Knights. There's a lot to get to, man. Talk a little boxing. We'll get to that with Ron Futrell coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.